My name is Anna Shepard, and I teach first grade out in Colton, Oregon. So I'm about 45 minutes southeast of Portland in a small rural school district. I would describe IPNB as studying how relationships and experiences physically affect the brain. Basically how our brain is developed within that context of relationship with other people and relationships of all kinds, parent, child, romantic relationships, professional, and that's how I would describe IPNB. In my opinion, a large idea of IPNB is being aware and having an awareness, a deeper understanding and awareness for how our minds function within relationships and why we do the things we do, what past experiences, how our personal history has informed the way we are living, the decisions we're making, and the relationships that we're in and those interactions that play out. So it's a science that I think the name sounds a little pretentious and, super sciencey and geeky, but it's a science that we all need to learn more about, and it's one that every person can relate to because we all have relationships in our lives. So my project was to create a workshop for parents and families about IPNB. And the three topics that I planned to discuss were brain anatomy and development from early childhood through adolescence, attachment theory, and mindfulness. And so those three concepts are under the umbrella of IPNB. IPNB has impacted my role as an educator. It's helped me understand it on a deeper level. It's helped me understand that my job helps me to shape my students' brains. I mean, literally what I'm doing is shaping young minds, and I serve as their prefrontal cortex. I'm serving as a model for how to treat people, how to focus attention, and I'm kind of the checkpoint for kids and behavior. It's helped me have a lot more compassion and understanding for where kids come from and why they do the things they do. I feel like I'm better able to understand behaviors. I'm better able to understand family dynamics and have compassion for those families who really struggle and may be chaotic or dysfunctional. And now this knowledge through IPNB has allowed me to have access to resources and that I can pass on to families and knowledge that I can pass on to them, which is really exciting. So I think that I've become, for sure, a better educator. I'm not perfect, but I've definitely, it's helped me to be better at my job and more effective. I think the area where my teaching has been most influenced and transformative has been with classroom management and behavior management. I used to see classroom management as me having full control, and now I am seeing it in a more relational sense. When there are misbehaviors, I'm able to better see the deeper underlying issues. I would say that when there's a misbehavior or a conflict between students that occurs, it becomes more of a conversation rather than a punitive, okay, you did this, so this is your consequence. On top of that, I've been teaching mindfulness to my first grade students, and it's been really wonderful and it's been fun and exciting, and I think so helpful to cultivating a cohesive classroom community. We've been learning about our brains and how emotions manifest themselves. And when our amygdala is triggered, I taught them the Dan Siegel hand brain model. They love that. They eat it up. They love learning about the brain. And it's given them language for feelings that they've had. And so we've talked a lot about strategies for how to calm ourselves down when we get really upset or when we have a big feeling. And the vocabulary that they've learned, the ways that they've learned about mindful breathing and how they describe it has been exciting and fun, because they'll think of ways of metaphors to use for breathing that I never would have thought of. So it's been a fun journey every year, being able to educate students about their brains, how their minds work, and what is going on inside their mind when they're having a big feeling. So I've been teaching mindfulness within the realm of emotional regulation. Anybody who works with people needs to learn about this. I think it's so important for us to be reflective of our own personal history and understand what experiences, what relationships have impacted our development and have made us the person that we are today, for better or worse. This knowledge helps us understand other people, and by understanding other individuals and their personal history and what has led to them becoming the person that they are, we're able to have healthier relationships. These classes have been so informative to my teaching, and I think they're directly applicable to the classroom. And so I think that they can be applicable to any profession, to parenting, and I think that they're classes that anyone can relate to. I think it's way more accessible than I thought it would be. I was concerned when I first started these classes. I was worried because I have no degree in neuroscience or psychology. I took a few classes in college on human development. I took the basic psychology class. So I came in having a little bit of reading. I read The Mindful Brain, and I read The Mindful Child. So I read a few books, had a lot of conversations with people. But as far as formal education, I had virtually none. So I was nervous, but quickly learned that while I was going to there was maybe some extra reading I would need to do that therapists wouldn't have to. It was from day one a science that I could relate to because it directly applies to any human being's everyday life. We're all affected by relationships. We all have them. And when topics of conversation come up or during a lecture, I can immediately think of situations where I've experienced what the professor is illustrating in the points that she's making. And I think it's a very accessible science for the general public. I think it provides clarity and understanding for how we are the way we are. And it encourages conversation, empathy, compassion, community, all these things that I think our generation is looking to establish. And I think that IPNB does that. So I think one of the beautiful things about it is that anybody could gain knowledge, understanding, and appreciation for it.